that we're going to be broadcasting, so they know to.
There you go, look at that. That's width.
Yep, I can get right over there.
Can you just check, make sure it's what's going on?
On Facebook,
Yeah. Just
DFB. Alright.
Hopefully it's not back to front, inside out.
I'd make myself poorly if I was watching like that.
Oh. I assume it's working, it's saying live.
Live!
Right way around?
well, you're back to front in terms of jizzes on the.
Oh, that's alright. That's the kind of the inevitability of
Is it some riveting content right now?
Hey guys.
Hello, anybody on Facebook?
Yep. We are a bit further apart, are we? Kind of.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. Feel lonely over here.
It's not going to be such an intimate recording.
Yeah.
But we've worked out how to do that way's landscape broadcasting, so we can properly social distance now for our podcasts.
Yeah.
It's comforting.
First time in 6 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, if we've got it.
Use it. So, hello everyone, welcome to Failed Rockstar Club podcast
Hurrah!
from the guys at Best Days Vintage.
That's us.
You know, Jez, I've put a little bit of timber on.
Yeah, I've noticed.
We've all noticed. So every morning I like to poke my chub. It's the Failed Rockstar Club.
Hooray! Poke your chub.
Yeah.
Do you mean your penis, or do you mean poke the bits of you that are flabbier than normal?
The flabbier bits.
Right, okay.
That's why
Your
I
chub.
did a little hors d'oeuvre at the beginning about putting a bit of timber on.
Right, okay. Context.
Yeah, exactly. Otherwise it might sound pervy.
It did. It still sounded pervy,
Yeah.
but I enjoyed it.
So, hi everyone, welcome to the Failed Rockstar Club podcast that talks to musicians about mental health, positive well-being, and a little bit of fashion.
That's true. You don't have to be a musician though.
No, you don't have to. No, and we haven't actually talked to any musicians because of the lockdown.
Yes, you'll notice it's just been the two of us for a long time now, and you're probably thinking, "Oh, they're scraping the barrel now, boy."
Yeah.
You're completely accurate.
Yeah.
But by next week, we're going to attempt to have a guest on. So this may well be the last week of just the two of us talking scheisse.
I think the original plan was we were going to do like two guests, one us, wasn't it? Kind of, so to split it up a bit.
Yes.
And
that went out the window with
lockdown, yeah. So we had to kind of improvise a little bit and talk more about our own experiences, rather than other people and you guys. But we hope that it's been interesting still. We try our best to create a different topic each week and a different subject, and we can talk a lot, so we've still got plenty to mine from, I'm sure.
This podcast is just two friends chatting shit. Somebody literally messaged yesterday to say that.
Yeah.
But they enjoyed it, so that's the main thing.
Okay. So Jez, can you please say where we are and who we are?
So I'm Jez, Jeremy Peter Dixon, J Pizzle, the JPD. I nearly said the Dick Master General. And this is next door big fans.
Yeah.
This is Stephen Robert Hurdle, BA Honours, and we are the co-founders of Best Days, your favourite vintage emporium, and also the Failed Rockstar Club, which is this little club community that we've created off the back of our business. And the philosophy of which is that you're only a failure if you don't try. And we are here in our HQ in Manningtree, broadcasting on Facebook and recording a podcast.
And one thing that might be... Actually, last week I noticed, because it was raining last week, you had the pitter-patter of rain in the background throughout the whole episode.
Which was quite comfortable.
It was nice, I liked it. Yeah.
Good if you're using this to get to sleep,
yeah,
I'd say.
Just listen to us talk crap. This week, it seems like the neighbours are back for the first time since lockdown, and so you might hear the odd...
Yeah, they've brought their kids to work, so intermittently you get, not abusing their kids, but shouting at their kids to fuck off back upstairs. Which, I can empathise with. For my song of the week, if there was a song called no, I don't want to fucking play Playmobil,
Yeah.
I would have chosen that.
Okay.
But there isn't such a song.
Write a song about it, dude.
Yeah, maybe I should write that one.
Yeah. So, okay. So, talking of that, how has your week been? And what song have you chose?
Well, there you go. I've chosen a song by one of my favourite bands of all time, Grandaddy.
Mm-hmm.
The song is called "Everything Beautiful Is Far Away."
Yep.
Which is a lovely song off their first proper album, Under the Western Freeway. And it's just more kind of a feeling of frustration at lockdown, I suppose. Still, even though I was trying to pick a song that was more optimistic, because I do feel like the kind of that feeling of being over the hump.
Yeah.
I kind of feel that. I feel like we've moved on. A couple of weeks ago, it really did feel like the peak of the virus and the ditch of our sort of feelings about it.
Oh yeah, you said, yeah.
And now I think everyone, well, again, I'm just going off what I'm seeing on social media and what I feel.
Yeah.
But I feel like people have kind of turned the corner a bit and starting to see light at the end of the tunnel.
Okay.
Not that it's going to go back to anything approaching
Do you
normality.
think that people are like we say slightly in tunnel, they're starting to get slack? They're lapsing into normal ways.
Not from what I've seen. I mean, I can't speak. I haven't been into town or been anywhere where that would be busy anyway. But the streets, certainly when I go out for my exercise, the streets are still really quiet.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I only really go to like 3 places: the woods, the footpath near us, and the supermarkets. But it's been pretty consistent and quiet. It's more from social media and listening to other podcasts. You get a feeling just in the air that people seem to be on the up again.
I can confirm, because I've been in the shop quite a lot, that it's quiet.
Mm-hmm.
There's not many people about at all. You get some riffraff walking around.
Do you mean junkies?
I don't know of their drug intakes, but they're definitely walking around with cans of lager and their shirts off, shouting loudly.
Okay, our kind of people. Michael Barrymore's my kind of people.
I haven't actually seen any of our kind of people at all, i.e. young kind of students and stuff like that. Like our customers, I haven't seen any of our customers in town at all. Lots of older people going to Wilkinson's.
Do you think when it does, how do you think long it will take to go back to proper normal? Because even if if the government says you can open small shops like ours, do you think people will come into town when they can, or will there be time?
I think it'll be if they open college again, stuff like that. Because until then, I don't know really. Like especially like the younger people, I really don't know. They'll be bored. So, but if they're allowed out and they're bored, are they going to go into town because there's something to do?
Yeah. I don't know.
Is anyone going to have any money?
How do you feel? Would you go to because you must be missing the pub. You're a big pub guy.
Mm-hmm.
Will you go as soon as pubs are open? Will you go? How do you feel about that?
Beer garden.
Yeah. If I said, Steve, let's go to the beer garden.
Yeah.
I mean, there's not that many in Colchester.
I wouldn't probably. It depends if it's packed. If it's fucking rammed, then I don't know. I'd think twice. But that's why I think it's too early, because it doesn't feel safe yet. But give it like 2 months, and it's like the new numbers are down to like 150. I don't know what are they going to be like. They're what 200 something now.
As in reported
deaths or like cases are down. It's like, well, at some point, what you're going to do is you have to take a risk. Got to go out there and start living your life again, surely. Like Slufgo, on the other hand, my wife is very worried.
She won't go out for a long.
I don't know. Yeah, she's not happy. She's not happy about it.
But she's quite a specific case in that she was ill just before lockdown, wasn't she? And so was particularly vulnerable.
Yeah.
And that must have played into her psychology.
Definitely. Yeah. And she's already saying that she doesn't feel comfortable going back to work because of like she doesn't know what other people are doing and like trust other people. She's also worried about me or you going back to work, like because you just don't know what other people are doing. You can't be sure if other people are taking things seriously as you are. Or
that's it. No matter what precautions you take, it only takes one customer to come in who's doesn't wash. We have quite a lot. Yeah. But so, how was your week? If you could sum it up in a song.
I've gone for D Ream. Things will get better.
I nearly chose that one.
Did you?
Yeah, I was pretty close to that.
Do you want to talk about mental health? Are we in that place or?
Well, yeah, we should. It's part of our.
So, I'm gonna know about whether or not I should talk about my own mental health stuff. I guess, but
I think you definitely should if you're comfortable talking about it.
I feel like it's probably a good thing to talk about it for people that might listen that might be struggling as well. Because I've been living my struggles literally through this podcast every week. It's like a different kind of thing every week. And I've made
If you're listening to the podcast, he's twiddling his wedding ring, which is what he does when he's a bit tense.
Yeah. And it's stopped now. No,
he's self-conscious.
Yeah, I've made conscious steps to self-improve myself and try to fix my personal issues. So one of the things I've done is I went to the doctors a couple of weeks ago and got some medication that's kind of seems to be slowly but surely working. It's given me a bad stomach.
Oh really?
And it's made me feel a bit vacant, but I feel a bit clearer in my head. Like I don't have that kind of the rain cloud filter.
Right. So physically it's affecting you, but mentally you feel
physically
a
it's
bit
definitely
better.
affected me. Yeah, and there are weird side effects with stuff like this.
They did tell you about that, didn't they?
So it's just weird seeing how my body's kind of reacting to it, but I don't have the kind of spinning stress zooming around my head and as much as I have been, and I can feel it every now and then, but I seem to be able to get out of it quite well. So that's been really positive, and started.
That's great.
I don't know the right words for it. Cognitive behavioural therapy.
Yep.
I had my first chat yesterday with someone on the phone for over an hour. Actually, it's a long time, and I felt pretty knackered by the end of it because they ask you some pretty hard questions and some pretty.
Like what? You don't have to give us the answers, but what kind of questions?
They ask you about if you feel suicidal, if you're likely to hurt anyone or hurt yourself. They're asking you how you describe your feeling, and then they kind of go through this whole checklist of things, and they ask you about work, and they ask you about your family life, and then at the end they kind of like find a way to sum it up. So they got kind of like a conclusion, and they read it back to you, and it's quite hard to listen to that conclusion coming back at you. But it's all. I just try to be honest, and I to put it as a step in the right direction, and I feel good about myself knowing that I have doing something positive towards changing it.
Well, even that, like just kind of admitting that you need help and taking steps.
It's
really got to be a big.
It's so good to feel that I'm not going to let it kind of beat me, I guess, and it's like something that I can actually make the steps to do and stop going around the same circles all the time. So we'll see. But it's the NHS, and I was surprised how quickly it came about. I really was. Like
you do hear stories about people who are assigned to someone
and
and
how
they never
long
hear
they
from them or
spent with me, and how kind she was. I mean, I don't know that didn't surprise me, but how long she spent with me on the phone did, and also that she's going to speak to a supervisor, which I don't know how well that bodes, but to find some sort of course of action, and she's going to phone back on Friday.
Because you thought during sort of lockdown pandemic times that they would be kind of overwhelmed with.
Yeah, I know.
Because it must be such a. We've probably spoken about this before, but the virus must have magnified a lot of people's mental health problems, especially people who live alone. Like,
I think most of the calls that people are getting now, I've sort of read a thing about in the news. Most of the calls people are getting are to do with this as a kind of being a bit trigger point for a lot of people's issues.
Yeah. Well, I heard on James O'Brien's show, the guy who runs that.
The GLB.
Yeah. It's the campaign against living miserably, like Calm.
Yeah.
He, like the head of that, he said 100% of their calls, like the COVID-19 comes into it in some form.
Yeah. And it comes into, but I think it comes into everyone's life in some form, right? It's like
it's been a real unifier in that respect.
I've heard actually a guy from Colchester phoned that program up. Did you hear him? And he was like, his uncle had passed away, and blah blah blah. It was it's difficult to listen to, but he was from Colchester. And I heard another person actually on that James O'Brien thing yesterday. I was doing the account, so I listened to it, and he was in a coma for like 7 weeks.
Jeez.
And 3 times the doctors said that he's non-responsive. It's time to turn the machine off, and his missus wasn't allowed to see him, and she said no, he's strong as a fighter, even though he's the older boy. And they said, all right, we hope you're right. It continued, and he came out of it, and the first thing he asked her when they FaceTimed was, will you marry me?
Jeez.
Did
you cry?
He had the kind of I did. He had the thing through his like throat, and and she couldn't really hear him very well, and she had to like really turn it up, and it's like, will you marry me? And they've been together for 30 years.
Sorry, that's just noise.
Yeah. Huh? No.
Well, that is lovely.
Yeah, it was like a proper nice story.
Yeah.
That's like he was like taken aback as well in that show. Like those sort of things that
that's it. I
don't expect.
I got feels from you just telling me that.
Yeah, it was like I think if you don't get emotionally upset, or not upset, but emotional by that, then you're dead inside.
Yeah, like you just have to mention Major Tom or Captain Tom, whatever his name is. Major Tom. He's from a David Bowie song.
Yeah.
Captain Tom. He like just.
Yeah, oh boy.
Yeah.
It's an interesting one as well. That's probably like another discussion altogether. Because how many Captain Toms are there in the world doing Captain Tom stuff and they don't get mentioned?
Or don't get the coverage. Yeah, I saw one about this Muslim guy who's been basically doing the same thing but for a different charity, and it's just not getting any coverage. That there is that element of it.
It's all about media. What the media, something how powerful they can be to these sort of things, rather than like there's probably loads of them out there, people doing stuff that we just never hear about.
Yeah.
But it's like how you find a unifying cause and that the media rally around it and it's this cool story and
an old white man is always going to be a
war hero.
Yeah.
So Jez,
not to belittle what he's done.
Yeah. Oh no, without a doubt. Yeah. Jez's recommendation of the week.
Oh yes. So there's a little change. Instead of a music one, I'm going to talk about a TV show that I'm watching, and I know it seems like a lot of people are watching it at the moment, but it's a show called Normal People. It's based on a book set in Ireland. It's just basically a love story, and not a lot happens, but it is just the performances in it are so good and the detail is so good. It's just it's beautiful. I can't recommend it highly enough. It's a lot of graphic sex scenes as well, if that's your...
yes, obviously.
And there's something for everyone. There's Winkle as well as Booby, so something for everyone. But yeah, it's on BBC Three, so I guess you can get it on iPlayer.
Okay.
But yeah, we've got 2 episodes left, but it's like it's just a beautifully made show.
What's it called?
Normal People.
Normal People. Okay.
It's been like 2 kids.
The Beeb, and they got
the Beeb.
Out.
Yeah.
Blimey.
That's what you're thinking about straight off the Winkle.
Yeah.
But I don't often watch like British stuff these days. You can kind of get. Just watch American Netflix shows.
Everyone was talking about that Call of Duty.
Yes.
Is it called
that was a BBC
police one, isn't it?
Yeah.
And all I could think of was the Bill.
Yeah, I haven't watched it actually. That did put me off.
Yeah, I watched the first episode and I could just think of, and then everyone says they're brilliant, but I could just all I could picture was the Bill. Yeah. Yeah, it's all I could think of. And I don't know if that's because it's the Britishness of it. I don't know what it is.
No, I must admit I've got a bit kind of snobby. I'm so used to watching like these prestige HBO kind of dramas that I just assume that like some low budget BBC one.
The filters are a bit weird.
Yeah, it doesn't look as glossy, and you think, oh, that's not going to be very good. But this genuinely, it's beautiful. So that's my recommendation of the week. Get on it.
Yep. And if you have watched it or you're interested in it, then
let me know what you think. And I'm like, we've only got 2 episodes left, so I'm looking for a new recommendation for next week. I've watched Tiger King. Don't come at me with the Tiger King stuff.
Yeah. There's a new episode, is there, or something? Is it?
Of Tiger King?
Yeah, because it's come up saying new episode.
Well, there's
kind of looking back on it.
Yeah, it's like the guy out Community interviews some of the people out of it. It's not really worth.
No.
It's quite funny, but seeing like what they look like now.
Okay.
That they've had a bit of fame. A lot of them have had their teeth done.
Oh right.
Clearly.
Yeah.
That guy, you know the one.
Paid well for it then, did they?
You know
the junkie
guy who was a junkie and was clearly straight, but was married to the.
Yeah, well, sitting there with his shirt off all the time.
Yeah.
Nice
with his tats out. Yeah, he's got new teeth.
Okay, you pay for them.
Well, I don't know. Maybe he just knew he was going to be on TV, so he thought, I'm going to have to take a loan out to get some new teeth.
Sure.
I don't know. Or maybe he's doing public appearances and going to clubs and saying, "Look, it's me from the Tiger King."
Yeah, probably. He's probably done well. He's probably done alright from.
Yeah.
So this episode, I've called this episode the holding down a job episode.
Sure.
So why have I called it that? Why would I call it that?
Is that a rhetorical question, or are you asking me?
I was asking you. Yeah.
Okay. Well, when you're a struggling musician, as we very much were, money don't pay the bills. But I think the most we ever got paid for a gig was £200 £250 maybe.
I remember now.
Between the five of us. So was it not enough to retire on new? So we had to have day jobs as you probably just call them, and they had to. It was difficult sometimes because you would often.
What is like holding down the job? Yeah.
You'd often have to say, look, we've got this like 3-month tour that we need to go on, or we've got a gig and we have to be at soundcheck for 4:00. You have to have very understanding employers.
Yeah.
And often they weren't.
Or do jobs that were like really flexible, which came at a price.
Yeah.
Which was the lack of price. I guess like the lack of wages.
You could only really do jobs that were low paid pretty much. Sometimes we'd tour with bands who would. I remember playing with bands and there'd be some guys doing stuff on their laptops. I don't know what they were doing.
Yeah.
But they would be like, yeah, no, I'm working.
Yeah.
But that was pretty rare. Most of them were doing like bar jobs or working in shops or most people in bands seem to work in American Apparel in the early noughties.
Yeah.
From what I remember.
And it was like you'd have to do jobs that gave you flexibility to be able to leave early because half the time you'd have to leave.
Yep. Sound checks at 5.
Yeah.
You've got to leave at 4.
Yeah. And so that was always difficult. Or you're driving somewhere else, you have to take days off in random time. So you could never do a job that was a proper job kind of idea. You know, like a kind of like traditional sense of like Monday to Friday. It's just the two just didn't go hand in hand because you couldn't commit either to either. And
I imagine that's what splits up a lot of bands is that at some stage you get to that point where you've got to make a choice. I need to get a proper job in inverted commas. I can't commit to doing all these practices, all these gigs, or you say, right, we're really going to make a go of this. Let's give it, I don't know, 2 years, 6 months, whatever. Let's stick in our crappy jobs and really make a go of it. And then I wonder if like bands, because now everybody knows that no one makes money from music. I wonder if people now look at it. So I think in our day we thought that was going to be our career. We looked at it as a career.
Yeah.
Whereas now, only the top, even the bands that are at the touring
levels are probably they have to hold down jobs, don't they? It's like,
I'd have thought so, or at
least side hustles, isn't it? There's
a lot
of definitely like, I guess you'd call it side hustles, wouldn't you? Where you've got your finger in a few different pies to make a bit of cash.
Maybe you're selling some art.
You're doing artwork, or you're doing
a clothing line or something as well.
Yeah, or you're selling on Depop, or you're working in a bar, or you're doing an OnlyFans.
Yeah.
It's that sort of stuff, isn't it? It's like where you can kind of get a bit of cash here, a bit of cash there.
I think so, and I think you have to be realistic that only the top 1% of musicians are making any. Such is like the way Spotify works. I've seen a lot of this, especially during lockdown times, about people kind of trying to not campaigning but asking Spotify to kind of somehow change their business model, that the artists make a little bit more of a cut from streaming.
Because the thing wasn't they were like Spotify's the worst out of all of them, but also it's the most popular.
It's the most popular. That's where everyone's going.
So the power base is still with Spotify, but some of the other platforms they give the artist a bit more.
Yeah.
Percentage of each song, like it works out like a higher.
Well, I know like is it Bandcamp?
Yeah.
Like giving the artist all of the money. Or something. I'm not sure what the business model is there, but they're making an effort during lockdown, especially to help the artists out. Whereas from what I can tell, Spotify is new. Is new doing this.
But Spotify are more customer focused, I guess, than
artist
focused.
Totally.
And so that's why they're so popular. Is ways that
they're the biggest, so they have the biggest catalogue.
Of not thinking of the customer first, which is like the music consumption side of things, and the way they kind of approach customers.
But you wonder how this model kind of plays out down the line. Like, will there be less bands because less artists can afford to do it?
Solo
I don't know.
Artists or stuff and doing stuff on your own.
What will the repercussions be, or will they have to change their business model? I don't know. But that's kind of a separate podcast, probably. Streaming, but the point I'm making is that I think if we'd have been a band now, we probably would have looked at it a different way. I think, knowing that, because I think we still had that dream that you sign a big record deal and you get this big advance and you can live off it.
Yeah. It was more like that in our day, though, wasn't it?
Yeah, like bands like our peers, like Hope of the States, who we were mentioning, they were £1 million record deals, which I know that was probably.
What I suppose also the difference is those days there's so much money sloshing about that they could afford record labels to take risks on these things because the money they'd make in other places and other.
Yeah, and I don't know what record signing advances are now.
No,
but they must be.
I don't know what Sam Eagle, like, for example, what.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, I know he has to work at. He still works in a music shop. But I know
Sam's like a lad from Colchester who is recently.
Yeah, I know he was all about.
Signed a record with Excel, wasn't it? He signed with.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
But I know he played hardball with him because he was all about creative freedom and that not working with particular producers that they wanted him to work with. That's what I heard.
Okay.
But good for him.
Can you tell me about some of the jobs you had when you were in a band? Can you remember some of
the
holding down a job?
So the very early days, it was always supermarket stuff because they were the only people. I was so desperate for money at that point. It was like the first job I could find. Yeah. And I remember I was so desperate that I put on the form for Safeway. They said, "What hours are you prepared to work?" And I was the only one who said he was prepared to start at 4 a.m. So they did when I first started. They were like, "Oh, you can work from 4, so that's what you're on the 4 till midday shift." I was like, "Oh fuck. Why did I put?" Because everyone else was like, "Oh no, I put like 6."
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh fuck." And so I said, I start at 4 a.m. So I set mine on for 3.
Oh, that's painful.
Yeah, that was the summer. We called it the summer of discontent 1.
Yeah.
Because it was just such a depressing summer. Like it just affected
you.
Couldn't go out. I was just tired all the time. It affected everything.
Yeah.
Because you could never I'd come home and I'd have a nap, but then I just wanted to nap more, and then I wouldn't go to bed at the right time, and I tried to get to sleep, but knowing I had to
sleep on my floor as well.
Sleeping on your floor, knowing I had to get up at 3 a.m. to work on the fucking back door at Safeway.
Practice as well.
Yeah, band practice in the afternoon.
Yeah, to go to band practice, then go straight home to go to bed for 9.
Yeah, that was there's a reason we call it the summer of discontent.
We watched Aliens.
Yeah.
Over and over again.
Every night we'd go to bed, and me and Steve, I'd be on Steve's floor, and we'd put Aliens on, and I would fall asleep in the first 5 minutes, and you have to go back to that. We'd get through it 5 minutes at a time. Steve was watching the whole of Aliens every night.
Aliens about, I don't know how many times I watched that bloody film.
Still a good film to watch every night, if you're going to watch. That's my recommendation of the week. The film Aliens, directed by James Cameron.
Yeah, and I remember I worked in a call centre.
Yes,
Maven Management, yeah. And because it was really flexible and it was pretty well paid considering, and I learnt the art of skiving in that particularly.
You did fuck all that job, didn't you?
Fuck all.
Well,
I did a lot of work. I did a lot, but no work. But I did a lot of building relationships to be able to do fuck all.
That was where you probably already had that, but you've always had the kind of gift of the gab in the world of schmoozing.
Yeah.
You were a good schmoozer. You kind of can get a rapport with someone very quickly, which gives you the option.
I'd also do things like pick the hardest questionnaires that no one wanted to do. I'll take 2-hour lunch breaks instead of only being half an hour, and just find ways all the time to
do fuck all. Yeah,
and I did as well. Yeah.
But you also learnt some other languages during that period as well, didn't you?
A little bit of Punjabi.
Yeah.
But that's the sort of really good job of a musician because it's quite flexible. You could do different shifts. You could come and go pretty much as you pleased.
Relatively well paid as well.
Relatively well paid for what it was at the time. And then we moved on when we moved to London, we spent a long time trying to find any job in London.
Yeah, well, that was the summer. This was a couple of years later. So then we moved to London to crack the rock and roll industry, which, as the podcast name suggests, we didn't crack. But yeah, there was a whole summer where we didn't have jobs and we'd moved to London, so the rent was obviously mental expensive.
Yeah.
And very soon, I was relying on my partner's income. I don't know. You lived with you were with Raf's,
our friend Raf, who was a bass player in the band, his mum's house.
Yeah. So at least rent was kind of you were okay with that, but
I think I had to bank and
spending spending money wise.
Yeah.
So we spent the whole summer looking for a job, and we got so fucking lucky.
Yeah.
Just at the time I remember traipsing around London looking for a job, and I was this close. My fingers are very close together. If you're not watching this, to getting accepting a job at the British Teddy Bear. shop as a like wearing a teddy bear suit, like wandering around handing out flyers or something. I was this close, and then I'm pretty sure I got a call from Rocket. So we both handed in our CV at Rocket, and we had a trial shift at Rocket, which is like a vintage clothes shop, which very much set us on our
path to where we are now.
Path to where we are now, yeah.
And that
was so.
Do you remember that?
It was one of the sliding doors moments.
Yeah. We went in and we dropped the CV, and neither of us had ever worked in a shop before in our lives, and we both lied.
We both lied on our CVs. Steve had made up a shop.
I made up a shop from Colchester called Atomic that never existed, and unfortunately it closed down.
Yeah. And I said I worked in a shop called QS, which was in Rugby, which was a shop but wasn't a vintage club. It was just a shop. Yeah. Just lied to get in there, and thank God we managed to charm
our way in, really.
Yeah, wasn't there like one of the employees in because we did a trial shift in Camden, and I think one of them fancied you.
Can't remember.
I think it was Catriona fancied you.
I do remember.
Persuaded Angie to give us the job.
I do remember that in my trial, I got two of my friends to come into the shop and pretend that they were customers to buy some stuff, and she and Angie, our manager of the shop at the time, said that I was very affable with the customers, and it was almost like we were friends.
Sure. Good that you can come clean finally.
Yeah,
about that.
We worked there for like 12 years, and I ended up working my way up to like the area manager of the business. And then my last day, I told my boss that story.
Oh, there you go.
But I like to think that was like clever thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember speaking on my trial shift, speaking to this Spanish couple.
Yeah.
And asking them all if they were looking for anything particular, not knowing that they were Spanish, and really struggling to strike up a conversation because of the language barrier. It was really awkward. Didn't think I'd get the job. Don't know how we got the job, especially based on the fact we were in the same band, and it was going to be really awkward. Yeah. For us to.
Well, our boss from the shop, she said that she didn't employ us, did she? She said if she had her way, she never would have employed both of us.
So we were employed for a shop that wasn't open yet. Yeah. The Covent Garden branch was where we were going to work, but it took ages. They kept saying, right, no, it's going to open in such and such a month, and it kept getting put off. When it finally opened, our boss Sarah, she said if she'd have known we were in the same band, she never would have employed us. So we got so lucky, and it genuinely that has put us working with vintage clothes, doing the whole music thing. We certainly wouldn't be
because we never would have worked with people before.
No. And meeting the kind of people we now meet in the Colchester shop, like meeting people who are into vintage fashion and kind of musicians and artists. And
how do you think it was, that relationship between Rocket, work at the vintage clothes shop, and the band was difficult, right? Because I was always on the phone, wasn't I? Ever on the phone, like taking phone calls about band stuff, and like we were so lucky that the boss was understanding. She'd get really mad, but She wasn't happy that we were always off to. Yeah. But she also knew they were bloody good at our jobs.
I think so.
And she liked us.
It was our natural charm that meant that we got away with it. Really, I think if hadn't had the ability to sort of schmooze a little bit and suck up when needed, and
my maybe management skills came out there.
Say the right things at the right time. I think we did well to last that long.
But I think it probably helped our careers that we had a solid job to go to. That was kind of cool. We met cool people through that job.
I think if we were working, I don't know, in a Costa Coffee or
it would have been a whole
Starbucks story. I don't think we'd have, or Sainsbury's. I don't think we'd have lasted that long. It was a cool job because we got to, we got clothing allowance or whatever, so we got to shop where we wanted, staff discount or whatever, and we met so many, famous musicians and other. That's what our keyboard player was. Mm-hmm. We met there because of an advert we put up, but we'd meet so many people in bands in there. Yeah. We met Florence Welch from Florence and the Machine. Yeah. She was a fan of our band early doors. But musicians who were established, musicians who were on their way up, people whose bands we would go on to play with and stuff. It was a real kind of.
It felt like you were part of a scene, and because we worked there, I think that people kind of got to know you a little bit as well, didn't they? As well, like customers and stuff like that. People that
there was a real sort of scene around it. Felt like anyway.
And it felt like the staff that also worked in the shop were also creatives as well, because the sort of people that worked there are generally kind of like.
Yeah, it was all actors. It was actors or artists.
We worked with what's his chops from.
Yeah, the singer from Years and Years.
Yeah, we worked with him for a year.
He was
for a year. We worked with him. Yeah, not years and years.
I can't claim to be years and years, but it was at least 6 months to a year.
What's his name? Ollie.
Yep, Ollie.
Yeah.
See, I just think of him as Little Ollie, but he's
Ollie.
like a global star.
He's Big Ollie now.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But
he
your mate, who
little fact about Ollie, he played "Crystallised" by the XX. That's the first time I heard that song. He put it on a mix CD, so we put it in Rocket.
Oh, okay.
Still their best song, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. So he introduced you to that.
Yep.
He was an actor, wasn't he, at the time?
He was,
Trying to be
he
an actor,
was
or
trying.
an actor?
I think was he at drama college at the time? I know he'd had a small part in like Skins or something. I think.
Yeah.
And he was best buddies with that actress who was in 28 Weeks Later.
Oh, 28 weeks later.
Yeah, the second one.
Okay.
Imogen Poot,
Okay.
who's a big famous actor now.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we worked with him.
Actress.
Actress. Well, I think you just say actor now.
Actor. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Great. Oh, that's sexist.
Yeah, there's a new culture.
Oh, sure.
You got to keep up.
Okay. Yeah. Who else? I say. Yeah. You became special friends with Simon Anstall.
That's not true. We didn't. But he was a regular customer, Simon Anstall. Yeah. Are we moving into the name dropping section now?
I feel like we have already.
Yeah, I suppose we should. But
yeah,
that's kind of we were going to name this
the name dropping episode.
The name dropping episode, but Jude Law told me not to name drop. Simon Amstel did, once ask me if I wanted to go swimming with him.
And then to cinema.
Yep, swimming and then a cinema, which sounds like a date to me.
Sounds like it'd be quite fun.
Yep, to this day I regret toning down.
Yeah.
My wife doesn't listen to the podcast, so that's fine.
No.
Would have been a lifestyle change,
He
I
used to
guess.
come in quite a lot, didn't he? And
He did, we built up a bit of a relationship with him. Noel Fielding, we had a kind of...
Mm-hmm.
There were like some celebrities we would just have, it'd be a one-off meeting and you'd kind of...
But Noel Fielding would come in all the time, and that was before he got famous. So
Yes,
he
Fielding...
was just the cool guy that came in the shop, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was just a well-dressed guy, seemed like our kind of person.
Yeah.
And I think one of the first times we met him, he told us about his new show that was going to be on BBC Three. It was about this like interplanetary pet shop or something, or zoo. Or we were like, "Yeah, he's either lying or that's bollocks. That's not going to work, is it?"
Yeah. And then every time, like over the years that he came in, he was getting more and more famous, wasn't he?
Yeah, and it became a bigger deal for.
I remember when I remember him talking about his own mental health when he'd finished touring, and he'd come in and say that he used to struggle like hell, wouldn't he? After the event, that he would look for like applause for making a cup of tea.
Yeah, that phrase always stayed with me.
Yeah.
And I guess there's a lot of people who've been on tour in some regards. Adapting to not being clapped every night is an adjustment.
And I remember him saying about that, how he found it really difficult adjusting back to normal life.
But he seems to have done okay.
Yeah.
We gave him the positive vibes, I reckon. I don't think he would have been such a big success without us. I thought he did I don't think we used to play tennis with him from time to time in Hampstead.
Yeah.
Who else did we have? Would you say was a kind of to the point where you could sort of say hello to them in the street?
Fern Cotton.
Miss Fern Cotton. That's right.
Cotton, yeah, I'd say.
At the time, I think she'd have recognised us in the street.
Yeah, because we used to talk to her quite a lot, didn't we? And I used to well fancy her. God.
Yeah, there was a time. Well, she was dating Colchester's very own Peter Brain.
Yeah.
And so there was a little sort of Colchester connection. So we would sort of chat to him and her.
There's a really I suppose I did feel pretty humiliated at the time. I was like on my hands and knees hoovering the stairs, and she came in with Peter Brain after he'd been in Fame Academy, and I was like, ugh.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Look at me hoovering.
Yeah.
While he's there picking out his clothes.
Mm.
Yeah, but who's happier now?
What?
You or Brain?
Oh.
No, neither of you pretty particularly happy, are you? I'd have thought.
Yeah. What's her name from other girl from Pop World, Makita Oliver? Yeah. We used to talk to her.
Yeah, we did. I remember we bumped her into her outside at a block party gig, and she recognised us and said hello. We talked about Graham Coxon.
Not sure he
I
would.
don't know if he'd have recognised us, but we got to the point where
he came into the shop once in Best Days, but we were closed.
So he didn't come in.
No, he tried.
He was outside.
It was a Sunday.
Yeah, with his nephew, I think, lived in Colchester at the time, and I think he'd come to visit him. And he told his uncle about us. So yeah, it was a late Sunday. But we got who were the sort of A-listers that we met.
Who was it? Natalie Imbruglia. She checked out my arse.
Yeah, 90s pop star and actress Natalie Imbruglia.
She used to come in, didn't she, with her husband who was in that Silverchair
guy.
Yeah, bass come in.
Checked out your ass.
She definitely did.
Unconfirmed.
Yeah.
But
Penelope Cruz.
Penelope Cruz. That's Hollywood.
Yeah. We've definitely flirted with her.
We gave it our best shot. Yeah.
Kate Winslet when she came in.
Winslet. Yeah, I once said to Kate Winslet, has anyone ever told you look like Kate Winslet? Not realising who she was, saw their name on the old credit card, realised my mistake.
Yeah.
Just looked down.
Yeah.
Where do you go from there?
Slater, Cristian Slater.
Cristian Slater.
He gave me the wink and the gun.
Yep. Tell you who's one of my favourites. The guy from Karate Kid.
Oh yeah.
He played
Johnny
Sensei
Crease.
Johnny Crease from Karate Kid. He once came in.
Yeah, we used to keep a book, didn't we, of all like celebrity, the celebrity hit list.
Celebrity hit list. And it was like pages long.
Yeah.
Because it was in Covent Garden, I think they were a lot of the sort of agencies,
Well, around there, weren't they?
Around
There was
there.
so many like people would come in all the time.
and they would come in there shopping or whatever. But
Keith Lemon guy, he used to come in, didn't he?
yeah, not Avon Marion. Lee Francis.
Lee Francis. Yeah.
Super Hands, the guy who plays Super Hands, he's coming all the time.
Did he? It was all the time.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't remember him.
What I liked about Sensei Johnny Crease was he was a very, very serious guy. He came in to buy some costumes for his new film
Yeah.
and was taking it very, very seriously. I was thinking, who's going to watch this? No one's going to see you haven't been in a film in 20 years that anyone's seen.
Yeah.
But he was still, taking his art very seriously. Who was the one who was always flirting with Sophia from...
Fight Club guy.
Yeah.
Jared Leto.
Jared Leto.
Yeah.
Suspicions of... that I can't talk about.
Yeah.
But there was
He
a very...
had suspicions though of
Yeah,
something or other.
Yeah. I won't elaborate.
No, I
If
don't.
you want to know more, slide into my DMs.
Yeah. Yeah.
But-
It's always like good times, wasn't it? It was like cool to see people. That's where we saw like Roddy One, all the musicians as well, weren't there? There's cool bands would come in. All
Yes,
the time.
to be fair, like Roddy, we're big fans of the band Idlewild, Scottish
Yeah.
band who were big in the late 90s, early
Yeah.
noughties. Still making very, very good music. Their last album was genuinely great.
Mhm.
And, forged a bit of a relationship with
Yeah.
the singer from that band. Well, with the guitarist originally,
Mhm.
and then the singer,
Yeah, they'd come in especially every time they played in London. They'd come in, wouldn't they, and say hello.
they would. And now, they, when they got a gig, they'll put us on the guest list, and we'll go and see them and have a chat afterwards. And genuine, like if you'd have told teenage, like, because when they were,
Well, even at the time, we couldn't believe our bloody luck, could we?
yeah.
Like, never took that for granted. It was always like, fucking hell,
Yeah.
bloody hell, we're luck.
But if you'd have told 18, 19-year-old me that you'd be able to have a chat with
Graham Coxon.
Roddy from
Yeah.
Idlewild, I wouldn't have believed you.
Nope.
But you do, as you met more sort of stars, I guess,
Mm-hmm.
you kind of the impact lessened, I guess, and you get more comfortable
Every now and then.
with the feeling.
Well, you get more comfortable with, especially like Keira Knightley. She'd come in all the time, wouldn't she, with her mum?
Yeah.
And yeah, you got used to saying hello, didn't you? Like it was always like fucking hell, there's Knightley, but you wouldn't. Yeah, it was different. It was kind of got you more used to it, I guess. And of course, you're also doing a job. You would be professional.
And then you'd see newer employees who weren't used to it, and they'd get really starstruck and kind of, let me serve them.
Yeah.
And you'd be a bit like embarrassed at them. But that was you, like a couple of years before.
Yeah.
But yeah, I put out to our
Nice,
Instagram followers if they had any good celebrity anecdotes, and it turns out they haven't. but still, I feel like the more mundane, actually, the funnier they are.
Yeah.
But so our good friend Sammy Clayton, he met Johnny Burrell
Yep.
of Razorlight fame and asked him why he hated Pete Doherty, and if he did hate him, he said he didn't.
Thank God for that.
Yeah. Alec Darcy Jones, regular customer from the shop, he met, and I quote, Ian McKenna. I think he means Sir Ian McKellen.
Yeah.
Ian McKenna, and he said, "You will pass." To him. Lovely. Apparently he was pissed.
Yeah.
That's
Suspicious.
Sir Ian McKenna.
Who was pissed? Alec? Or
No.
Ian
I think he
McKenna?
means
Oh.
Ian McKenna.
Oh.
Lily, who's at Loud Internet Angel, she met Gok Wan in an occult bookshop.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's a story. That's an anecdote. Tarot. Good evening and welcome. We had a couple of Gok Wan experiences, didn't we?
Fucking hell, didn't we?
I'll be honest with you, not keen.
No.
Not for me, Clive.
He made me. He was awful, wasn't he? When he was like, He was a pain in the arse.
Yeah, he was a bit much, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Do you remember he was filming? He used to come in and film some bits
and he
bits
asked
from
you
his show.
if you could give a discount, and then
Yeah.
you made some big sum of ask out. Always ask for a discount.
Yeah, it was really embarrassing, and he didn't even make the cut.
Thank God.
I told all my friends I was going to be on
Telly.
What Not to Wear or whatever it was. Didn't even make the cut. Melanie F. Wright.
Okay.
She met Prince in his club
Shut
in
up.
Minneapolis. Yeah, international, and he was really short. Who'd have thought it?
Didn't you?
Swimsuit competition.
Yeah.
I don't know which member of swimsuit competition that is, but they're a band who we very much like. They made Wakefield a cup of tea.
Where?
Well, they own a
Coffee shop.
Yeah, you know where
Yeah,
that studio
okay.
is. I assume.
Assume that. Otherwise, you just came around the
Sanny, I
house.
think her name is, her real name.
Yeah.
Yeah, made Wakefield a cup
That's
of tea.
a good spot though, because I don't know if
Yeah.
I recognise Wakefield.
Not now.
No.
At a Saturday Night Peak,
Unless she went,
I
oh,
might have,
Wakefield.
if she was in the Saturday Night Video outfit, which I assume she wears all day.
Maybe she came in doing the dance. Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Huh?
Recognise me now?
Yeah.
Yeah. You'll kick yourself later.
Yeah.
Abby Schofield.
Okay.
She met, and she says met Cat Slater, which and got so starstruck, she ran away.
Jessica.
But that's Jessica Wallace. I like the fact she said the character name.
Yeah.
She must have been in a leopard print jacket at the time.
Slater.
She was 4 at the time, so I can understand.
Oh, okay.
You're always crying when you're 4.
Yeah.
But that's an iconic story. The Finch.
Connor Finch. Yep.
Connor the Finch met Carl Barat. It's a great story. Connor said, "I love your band." Carl Barat said, "I love your hat." So,
Oh, that's
yeah,
nice.
to be fair to these people, they can only fit
Yeah.
a certain amount of characters, so I'm sure they would elaborate.
Yeah. No need to.
Yeah, no, these are great. At Frank Hall on Instagram, met Thomas Turgoose
Who?
in Sheffield.
I don't know who
He's
that
that
is. The tank engine.
Thomas Turgoose, the tank engine. He is the guy from This Is England. You know the sort of chubby-looking skinhead guy. Chubby-looking skinhead.
As a kid.
Yeah,
Okay.
he was a kid at the time.
Yeah,
he
yeah.
was, obviously, he was in Game of Thrones for a
Okay.
bit.
Was he?
Yeah, he was just quite a small role as a soldier.
Okay. No.
Anyway, he met him in a club in Sheffield, really pissed, and his friend can piss in his mouth.
What?
Thomas Turgis' mate can piss in his mouth. I mean, I replied to this guy on Instagram and said, surely everyone can piss in their mouth if they... If you get
Piss
yourself
in
in
his own mouth. Oh, I thought you meant
Yeah.
just piss into this black geezer's mouth.
No. Again, he didn't really explain the story, but everyone can piss in their mouth if they really want to.
Well, I'd pour it into a cup and then drink it.
Well, I assume he means like contort your body, but
Oh.
all you have to do is like
Yeah, like a fountain.
sit upside down.
Like a water fountain.
It doesn't seem that impressive to me.
No. Okay. Well,
I mean, I've
he was
watched-
impressed.
I've watched some videos.
Who was that?
I could show you some
What's his
videos.
name?
Could you? Well, the person who
Yeah.
messaged us was at Frank Hall.
Funkle. Okay.
I don't know the actual name. Frank Hall.
Frank Cool.
Frank Hall.
Okay.
Zara G
Yeah.
on Instagram. She snotted down Zayn Malik's back. She met all of One Direction. I assume Zayn was her favourite, and she spilt snot down from
She's
her
crying. Ah.
because she was crying so much down his back. I want to know how Zayn reacted, but
Yeah.
we haven't had that detail. Jazzwa, Stephen Fry stood on her foot and didn't say sorry.
Oh, maybe you didn't realise.
Well,
He looks like he's got quite big feet.
that's what I said. That's what I replied to her.
Mm.
He's a big old unit,
Yeah.
but I feel like he would apologise if he'd realised he'd done
Yeah, I feel like I don't feel like he would have done it deliberately.
it. Yeah, well, we'll never know.
Mm.
And Sarah Norton met Lee Ryan on the South Bank, but accidentally called him Duncan. So there you go.
Lee Ryan was the elephant one.
Yes, he's the one who said we shouldn't be talking about 9/11.
No,
We should
what
talk
about the elephants?
more about the elephants.
What about the elephants?
Yep. And Duncan was the one who everyone knew was gay, but
You said that?
I think he had some gypsy connections. Yeah, but I think you can say that. I
Okay.
think that's on record now.
Yeah.
Didn't we know someone who knew him?
Yeah.
Probably not confirmed.
Allegedly.
Yeah. We can cut that out.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you very much for your responses.
Yeah.
I thoroughly enjoyed them.
Yeah.
What we need to put out? What should be our question for next week? that we can then talk
Got to
about.
figure of something to actually talk about.
We're
next
like
week.
worst jobs.
Yeah.
'Cause then we're responding to like.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, we'll think of something. I'll put out a question on Instagram.
Yeah. But they're good fun.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think that probably draws us to the end of the podcast. We've been talking nearly an hour.
Jesus.
And time flies when you're having fun. So thanks everyone for listening to the Failed Rockstar Club podcast that talks to musicians about mental health, positive well-being, and their journey in music, and a little bit of fashion. If you want to connect with all of us, Best Days Vintage is our shop social media.
There you go. There's the fashion.
Yep.
If you want your fashion, bestdaysvintage.co.uk.
We are going to do like stuff about the fashion. Like the
Oh, yeah,
vintage
yeah, I
stuff as
know,
well
I know,
as we
I
go on. I think that'd be good to do. So yeah, Best Days Vintage is the social media: Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Snap, TikTok, YouTube as well. You can find us on YouTube as well, and these podcasts are recorded live on Facebook and also go onto YouTube as well. So there's ways to find it as well if you're interested in seeing.
If you're
us
thinking, I love their voices, their faces must be amazing.
Yep.
You can
see
them.
Yep. And we are probably as camp as we sound.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
So
the gestures match the voices.
yeah. I don't know about anything else you want to talk about, or
Any other business?
bestdaysvintage.co.uk if you want to find the merchandise.
LinkedIn.
Oh yeah, and obviously LinkedIn. That's
I'm
the
on
big
that.
one.
I do that as well. Yeah.
But no, yeah, just go to bestdaysvintage.co.uk. That's the message. That's the take home from this, I'd say. And we hope you're all okay. We're on the way up now, I think, guys. In a good way. Our mental health is going up.
Yep.
The curve's going down.
Yep.
We've flattened the curve. So we've flattened the curve single-handedly.
So take care. Look after yourself.
Stay safe. Love you. Goodbye.
Gosh, I got myself caught in the
And
shirt.
you. I'm sure you'll be watching this later. Any questions?
Yeah, business.
Professionalism is, and that's what I want. Good. I entered this live at the weirdest time.
Don't know when that
I don't
was.
know what the weirdest moment was. Was it the bit where Steve parted his cheeks? Probably.
See you later, guys. Thanks for watching.
God bless. See you next week.